What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Austin Zaback Show. We have a very special guest on today's podcast by the name of Zachary Kepes. Okay, is it Zachary Kepes, or is that just on Instagram?
I haven't changed my name.
Okay.
That is my real name.
I like it. So Zach Ventures is actually what I know him by, which is his Instagram handle, which is what I'm used to. So Zach's a really special dude that we've had. I've had the great honor and pleasure of the last probably a year or so of actually kind of starting to get to know you, but have watched this guy over the last several years and in the industry, just going out there and doing just incredible things. Owns north of 200 rental properties and has just done incredible things in his life, such as a 3-time Ironman, which I actually just found. I think you told me that. You told me that the last time we had coffee, I believe. So, but just an incredible guy that just does good business and is just somebody that when I look at my life, and if you're watching the video or listening in, this is a dude that anybody would want to eventually strive to be like you, Zach. So I just appreciate you being here, man. And
wow, that's the best intro I've ever had. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I love your energy.
I appreciate that, brother. Well, I've had a couple of monsters today, so we're rocking and rolling, man. But no, so dude, I just want to dive into it a little bit. Here you are, right? And you're obviously you're one of the bigger dudes in the industry, and you have done incredibly well in the real estate industry. Like, were you, was your family in real estate? I mean, just so people understand and know, I mean, how did that whole thing evolve back in the day,
Sure. No, great question. So, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I always love connecting with you and Brendan, and just a great organization, good people. The Zaback group, you guys are growing exponentially. It's fun to watch your growth. I'm excited to JV eventually on some stuff, or partner, or we do deals together. Regardless, it's just an honor to be here, so thank you.
I appreciate that, yeah.
So delving into your question, no, my grandfather had some development stuff back in the Midwest. I'm from Detroit. I went to work with him a couple times, saw some of his developments and his new construction and some retirement buildings. I think kind of that captivated my attention, as a young blood, and knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Everyone in my family is an entrepreneur. My dad had a law firm. My grandfather had a scrap business. The other one was also an entrepreneur, multiple businesses. So growing up, it's like, you never want to, in my opinion, you don't want to work for somebody. You want to be your own boss, be autonomous, and create your own legacy and your own branding and, your own lifestyle. And so that's what captivated my attention. I didn't know what vertical for sure I wanted to go in, but as you do the research and you look at different opportunities, I think real estate is the best industry. You could probably concur with multiple businesses yourself. It's the best business to be in.
Yeah, it's tangible, man. I tell people, I've done, I know that only because I've done it the other way around. I've owned an ATM company, I've owned a marketing agency, I've owned an exotic car rental company, et cetera, right? Yeah. And every time I get into another venture, the only thing I ask myself when I go to bed at night is, why am I not just putting more energy into the real estate industry?
Sure.
Because, you look at the real estate industry, man, it's unlimited, it's infinite. I mean, it's just, and it's tangible. Yep. I can look at it, I can touch it, I can smell. Yep. There's something about looking at a deal and knowing I can look and see, okay, here's the value add I'm doing. Here's the reason that I'm making money. It's not just like some of this other crap. I still don't know how I even make money doing it. It's just not tangible. It's not real to me.
Sure. But it is conversely, it's nice to have diversification, different avenues. I'm heavily concentrated in real estate. I invest in some cannabis stuff and some other opportunities. But I do like exactly. You can buy in cannabis companies. You can do different equities, but we have zero control. The institutions are moving that stuff. We're the last guys to know. A whisper, a rumor, and all of a sudden you're losing. If you look at the cryptocurrencies and that, a whisper, you're down 50%, 40%, no control. Yes, real estate can go up and down, as we all know, but it's a marathon, not a sprint, and that's the mentality.
One of the things that I admire about you, Zach, is, I talk to a lot of wholesalers. We wholesale a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm younger than you, and I've wholesaled probably, 1,500 houses or so in the last 7 or 8 years. And the one regret that I have, and I don't have many, and it's really not a regret because I wouldn't be where I'm at, without doing that, obviously. But I wish I owned more real estate, right? And I really admire your business model because you own a lot of real estate. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really intriguing to me and probably to a lot of the viewers, because we're wholesaling to dudes like you or like a hedge fund, right? So every time I do that, I ask myself, I'm like, well, how come they're buying it and I'm selling it, right? Mm-hmm. And I just kill myself every time. Every single day we wholesale a couple of deals and I just go to bed at night. I'm like, what if I could have kept that,
Sure.
And so did you ever wholesale or right out of the gate? I mean, was your primary focus always the buy and hold strategy, or were there other strategies as well in the beginning that you focused on?
Oh, great question. So hindsight's always, perfect in 2020. And I always encourage people. It's fun. We have this conversation. We had coffee and said, you guys should digest more. You know, as a young guy, you've got a big time horizon. You can mitigate any volatility in the market. You have the ability to put some great long-term debt on. You're bankable because you're making a lot of money. So I would leverage the bankability to stabilize good assets where you're going to get good yield. That's my opinion. I say that all the time. When everyone tries to sell to me, everyone knows, hey, number one, why can't you digest this? Why do you want to sell to me? All right, I'm happy to buy the deal, but let's figure out a way for you to maximize the pulp of that orange, to maximize the pulp of the opportunity. So that's always my take. But early on, I did do a lot more flipping, not wholesaling, but I would buy, create value through remodel, stabilize the asset, and sell because I didn't have a lot of money. So I needed to create that money, and you get a domino effect of flipping to create more capital faster, yet you're paying taxes, and you also become bankable to then have the ability to hold. So I think it's a transitional period. I always think you have to, pay the piper to play to a certain degree and pay your dues. And pay your dues, you're doing the wholesaling, you're doing the flipping to create that capital to then do the buy and hold. I think there's that the step up in the ladder.
Yeah, and to some degree, I would imagine actually, that in doing the flipping, right, and in doing the renovation, that actually led ultimately is a really good thing for you. And even I haven't done nearly as much flipping as you, but we flipped a decent amount. But that was because you have an incredible team. I mean, you have, or I shouldn't say, but like whether you call it a team or your contractors, your dudes, right, that are out there. Because like one thing about because if you do a buy and hold asset today, a lot of times, and we can dive more into it, but from what I can tell, you really will go above and beyond on that renovation right on day one because you're going to have to do it whether you do it today or in 10 years from now. So you're the kind of guy, you want to get that asset, like you say, completely stabilized and in really good condition, move a tenant in there. You don't have to worry about it a ton.
Correct.
And so you've got a team that's able to obviously do that, which I would imagine you develop those connections and relationships as a result of the flipping you did early on.
1,000%. Yeah, okay. So it's the same. And I say it's my team. I don't, we're all a team. Everyone works together. I don't like this hierarchy of things and titles. Everyone, we have a great synergy. We've got good energy together. It's a team. Everyone's valued the same way. I don't care if you're swinging the hammer or paying for the property. We all bleed the same way. We go to the bathroom the same way. We're all on the same level. No one's better than anyone else. I truly believe that.
I like that.
So I've been blessed. I've built the crews, and a lot of it's become family. Well, you got a brother-in-law and his brother-in-law and his uncle and his dad, and so we'll do a carne asada. Luigi's over here filming. We do carne asadas every other Friday, and it's a familial environment. It's a warm environment. It's good. Everyone has each other's back, and that's when you're building this. That's the type of environment you want to create. So I was blessed to get that experience through the construction, through the flipping, and of course it pays massive dividends. My mentality is full construction, full surgery from the forefront. Let's not put a Band-Aid on something and know that it needs to be changed 10 times. You're going to spend more money on Band-Aids than just doing the stitches the first time. So if you have that mentality of solid stabilization, good product, you're going to get more for rent. You're not going to have to go back multiple times. You're not going to have a distressed tenant who's aggravated by people coming in and out of the house. Just get it done right the first time. The guys are already there. They don't want to go back multiple times. So
over 230 properties later, would you say that you had that mentality day one, or was it a learned mentality where you maybe did it the wrong way in the very beginning, or at least a handful of times, to then learn that that was the ultimate way that you wanted to do it moving forward?
Great question. I think we always had the philosophy of, hey, always try and do it right the first time. You maybe want to test it with, you have the term hotel. Hey, let's take the property, let's do some carpet and paint, let's see how it trades on the market. Then you realize your reputation's also really important. You want to build long-term reputations with the agents that are selling the deals, the home inspectors. You have some sort of branding in the market. So when when you're either renting or selling that asset, you're like, oh, it's a Zaback property. It's a quality property. They didn't cut corners. They pulled the tub. They're going to do the plumbing. You can sell with transparency. You can sell with confidence. People know they're getting a high-quality product, and in turn, they're going to pay for that asset. You're going to get a premium for it, and you get a premium for rent, and everyone's happy in the deal. So I think, yes, I probably tested the market, think, oh, maybe I'll make some more money, but the reality is when the inspector comes in there and you take these what you think are shortcuts to maybe maximize your profit, you end up losing because now you got to go back and fix it, maybe pull a tub or do what you need to do. So I think that's an acquired lesson through experience and hardships and difficulties in the past.
Or somebody just watching the podcast, maybe learning vicariously through you and not having to go through. I think that's a big reason that I love content, right? Is theoretically you can take what other people have done wrong and do it right the first time without necessarily having to touch the stove to know it's hot. If somebody tells me it's hot, I'm just going to believe them.
I saw Austin's video. He burned his finger 3 times. I'm believing him. It's really hot. I don't need to burn myself. 100%.
I agree. you have a lot of admirable qualities and as a human being, as a person, and also in business. I mean, all the way from, the loyalty to the culture that you've created. I've seen videos of you, and for people watching and listening, I'm sure they can find it on your Instagram, where you will literally go and have relation with your tenants, and you'll walk in there and you treat them like your family. And that is not something you see a typical, when I think traditionally, right, growing up, we have this, Americans, right, we have this kind of perception of a landlord, right? Of who the avatar of a landlord. This kind of slimy, greedy, egotistical, prideful type of person. And you remind me of the exact contrary of that, the polar opposite of that. The person that treats everybody, you were just talking about it, right?
Yeah.
We bleed the same, we go to the bathroom the same, etc. Do you think that those qualities, did you inherit that? How were you raised? I mean, where did that come from? I would imagine that these qualities were something that were instilled in you in a young age, far before you were a businessman.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I pride myself. I had a manifestation. The other day I'm walking my dog. I do some of my best thinking, just quality time, me and Buddy Jones walking through the neighborhood, thinking, putting the phone away where there's no reception. And my mentality is this: if you treat people like family, you treat them like your bank account. If you give more credits than debits, you're always going to be better off. If you're always giving more than taking, and I also believe in karma, positivity, energy, all those things, and it's pretty obvious. It's a fundamental deal. You treat people well, you treat them like family, most of the time people are going to reciprocate that. And obviously if the tenants don't respect that, or they're disrespectful, they're always bad apples. I just went through a horrible eviction with the tenant who destroyed my house, destroyed. But you can't let that negative emotion penetrate you. It's just business in that respect. But I think, reverting back to your question, I was blessed that I was socialized in a really good family. We were a middle-class family. My father and mother did well. My mom did a lot of charitable work and giving back to senior citizens. My dad, very charitable. And I recognize that impact. It's always coming back. Your legacy is not how much money you make. It's what you've done to impact other people.
Sure.
So if you treat people well, you smile at them. It's funny how contagious. Look, you smile now, so we're having a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's real. It's authentic. You can't fake that authenticity. When Luigi knows we walk in houses, I hug my tenants. Somebody moves in, I'm like, hey, this is not like this is not an adversarial relationship. I'm here to serve you. You're part of the family. You call me, you need something. Don't forget to invite me over for Christmas, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, whatever it may be. I'll bring, the beer or food or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's the mentality that you want. It goes so much further. People don't want to screw you per se if they're friends with you, if you're really, truly family and you treat them apparently and authentically. It's not some fake relationship. Anybody knows, and that's true. I like to interface with all my tenants. I'm part of the move-ins. I want to look you in the eye. I want to make you feel comfortable in the home. Hopefully one day you can own that opportunity. I give all my tenants the right to buy any of my houses.
Wow.
They're also going to treat the home much better if they feel like, wait a second, one day we may buy this.
Wow.
Let's really enhance and treat this. That's another really important message as a landlord, to tell the tenant, listen, and you should be serious about it. Hey, I'd love to take your rent, but in the same respect, I want you to build wealth and a future for your family and a legacy. At any point you love this house and you qualify for the home at market value, and I'll give you a small discount, I want you to buy this.
Wow. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think, to be very blunt about it, there's just not a lot of people in the world that we live in today that have that kind of mentality. I told you that the day that we had coffee. I said, listen, and I've always admired you. I've always known, because when you see somebody, I see somebody on social media from 100 miles away, I can tell the difference between a real authentic human being and somebody that is just maybe acting a certain type of way to look a particular type of way, or whatever the case might be. And I always knew you were the type of guy that you were exactly who you said you were. You did what you said you were going to do. If on the way here, right, your GPS said, hey, 308. And you're the type of guy, and I knew at 2 o'clock, you texted me, wanted to make sure you were still on. And I knew the text was coming. At 1 o'clock, I was like, Zach will text me in an hour, right? Because I just know that that's just the type of man you are. And so, again, very admirable. I guess, another question that kind of comes to my mind.
Let me interject real
Okay.
fast, because I like the conversation. I like the fact that you anticipate that. I know you're the same way. If we have plans, we have plans. But be a guarantee in business. Be an over-communicator. Just like whether you're a tenant, you're a landlord, you're an owner, you're an investor. Hey, title, did you get the earnest money? You just want to confirm it got picked up. There's no such thing as really over-communicating unless you're annoying somebody. But just confirm things. Just be proactive. Be that person, because you want to. I pride myself on being a guarantee. Whether we're signing a deal, we have plans for dinner or lunch. No one ever has to reconfirm with me. I'm going to be there unless I'm dead.
Yep.
If I'm dead, clearly I won't be there, and I apologize in advance. Otherwise, barring COVID or something else, we'll be there. The deal's going to get to the finish line. And that's an important characteristic for business, whatever business you're in, pride yourself on being a guarantee. They don't have to worry about you. They don't have to think about, hey, is this deal going to get done? Is it not? What's happening? Oh, I'm working with Zaback. I don't have to double check on this one. He's going to get it to the finish line. I know all your the end users and people who you acquire from, they're very happy. You got great reviews, and the same thing. Conversely, when I saw your social media, I'm like, man, this guy's driving these fancy cars. I'm like, who is this young buck, whatever? And I met you at dinner. I'm like, man, your energy, you're a consistent guy. So I get thrown off when I see all these material things because I'm the complete opposite, to be honest. But you are a God's man, a really good guy. I know what kind of woman you're looking for in a relationship. So I say this, anybody who's blessed to come into your life will be blessed to have you as a partner, knowing you firsthand.
Well, I really
so social media is not everything, because people get turned away from that or turned on depending on what you're looking to achieve. And I was like, I want to get to know somebody. I can't make a judgment until I get to know them. And I can say I love
really
this guy.
Appreciate that, man. I mean, it means like way more than you can even ever imagine. You know, a compliment like that come from a guy like you is just truly just makes my heart happy. You know, so and I want to touch on one thing you said actually. Now that you said it is, you know, I always say that how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And so I think a lot of people, they focus on business, or they focus on relationship, or they focus on their physical body, or their spiritual in the church, or in the universe, or whatever they believe in. And I believe that no matter what area of life you're doing something in, that you'll do every area of life very similarly, right? And so to your point of, you know, you are a guy that is a respectable guy that people can count on, and if you say you're going to do it, you do it. You know, you're going to carry that into every area of your life, right? And so, you know, for you, any relationship monogamously that you're in, they're going to get that same level of commitment and the same level of certainty that, you know, that your business partners are going to get, or that your colleagues in the professional realm are going to get. And in every area of your life. If you say you're going to go to the gym, you go hiking, right? And I see it all the time. I'm going hiking. I'll be at this location at this time. If you want to come out, and you're there every single time, right? Like there's no, where's Zach? He didn't show up. He's late. He posted about it. He's not here, right? No, he's gonna be there. And so I like that you are that way in every area of life. And I think if people can develop an attribute like that in a particular area, then that'll carry over into other areas, which I think is truly incredible. Because if you come into business and you don't have your personal life figured out, your business life's going to be all jacked up, and vice versa, right? And so I really love that, man. Another thing that I do want to talk about too, I think it's really cool, and I think viewers or listeners can get value from it, and myself included, is, you know, and they might not know, but you manage basically all of your portfolio in its entirety with you, and I believe you have like one or two people that are kind of in your inner circle that help you out. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
Okay. And, you know, a lot of people, and even at dinner, the night that we were at dinner, without ever name dropping or anything, but people will, I've noticed, I've seen you interact with people, and people will kind of push on you a little bit to kind of say, how come you don't own a property in Atlanta or in Nashville or in Florida? You can buy something at half the cost. Your cash flows X, Y, and Z. And I've heard you respond to these people before, and you've said, you know, well, because it's not in my backyard, and I'm not able to have this intimate type of relationship with not only the property but the tenant. I can drive by it if I need to drive by it, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on why you chose to go the route of really trying to do it all yourself. It's a lot of properties to manage at the end of the day.
It is.
But, you know, as opposed to maybe hiring a property manager or having maybe a nationwide portfolio or something to that effect.
Yeah, great question. So, like you, I'm an anal type A personality. I need to walk every single asset that I buy. I will drive it. I will get in it for 5 minutes, 20 seconds, whatever it is. Here's my money, non-refundable. I want to feel comfortable. It's not like you're going out to buy a hamburger for $5. You don't need to inspect the kitchen. I'm not looking at the chef's hands. If it's not good, I'm tossing it out. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line. And unfortunately, there's a lot of great people and there's a lot of snaky people. And if you're going to buy from, there's bad wholesalers and great wholesalers. And there's a lot of bad ones that are going to misrepresent something. When you have hundreds of thousands on the line, there's going to be that chance you're buying on pictures and a quick, assessment, they're missing a structural issue, or the AC is jacked up, or they represent a tenant's an amazing tenant with a security deposit, and it's not the fact. So I want to go out there, I want to interface and look at the tenant if I'm buying with the tenant in place. I want to understand the situation. I look at the intangibles, so I want to get the feeling for not just the numbers. Some people are fixated on what's the ROI. I want to look at the neighborhood, what's transpiring there, what's the growth going on? Is there a Starbucks coming in? Is there a Home Depot going out there? Are they redoing the road? What's going on with the HOA? Something always good or bad happens when you're out at those assets driving to it. Some people are just fixated, let me get there with blinders on. guys, put your phones away, be present, and absorb what's going on, and put yourself in the mentality of a tenant, an agent, and an end user doing that experience. That's huge advice. Slow it down, put your phone away as you're driving that asset, and absorb, and use your intuition. There's a lot of intuition that's downplayed in this business, that people are fixated on just, hey, what's the net yield, what's the ROI? It doesn't just work like that. I want to focus on equity. I want to feel, hey, do I feel like this neighborhood has the ability to appreciate? Oh, I didn't recognize they just put in this beautiful dog park in the park down the street. Things that didn't pull up on Google Maps because it's so new. Get out of the comfort zone of your office, get into the field, shake hands, talk to the neighbors. What's this like? Do you recommend, would you recommend, ma'am, to the neighbor, your brother or mother or sister, to move in over here? Is this a good neighborhood? What are your thoughts? And ask the questions. Don't think that you know everything. I'm always listening twice as much as I'm talking, ideally, so I can absorb information and learn. Every day, new things are transpiring, and you got to get in the field. I don't have that ability to be so intimately dialed in into, thousands of cities and neighborhoods across the nation as I can be an expert as much as possible in my backyard. There's an abundance of opportunities for everyone to be successful. I don't need to go to Atlanta, Michigan, or all these other places where potentially I can get a higher cash-on-cash return. However, I'm a firm believer, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is, that Arizona still has legs and ability to further appreciate because it's so much demand. If the demand here slowed down or the market conditions change, maybe I would reposition. At this juncture, I'm very content with where the rents are going, where a market's going, the stabilization, the relationships that I have, and the intimate knowledge that I've absorbed by driving probably almost every street in the entire county.
And you have.
And the other important thing is to make quick decisions. So you lose that ability for quick execution. It's like pulling the gun, right? You don't want to have analysis paralysis. Someone calls you, you're like, I don't know, and you take 3 days to get back. The deal's already gone. If someone's calling you in an out-of-state neighborhood or county you're unfamiliar with, by the time you gather all your due diligence, that deal's long gone.
100%.
So to have the ability to pull that gun out and pull the trigger quickly pays massive dividends.
So I love what you just said. I think that the first thing my mind goes to when you say all of that, because it's just I think it's just gold. I think anybody watching, anybody listening should go back and rewatch and re-listen, like golden nugget, golden nugget, golden nugget, right? I think we live in a world right now, and I see it every day. My generation especially is, everybody wants everything right now, today. A microwave mentality type of generation, I guess.
And great.
And so they're looking, like, to your point, it's just, the cash flow is better. They're looking at one variable of the deal, right? They're not looking at the whole deal. They're not looking 10 years from now. Where's the market going to be? Is this market truly, in 10 years, are people leaving or are they coming to the market, right? And they're just looking at right here, right now, I can make $1,000 a month more cash on cash return. And I think it gets people in trouble because it's such a short-term way of thinking, right? And it's not that you can't go make money in Nashville or in Michigan or this or that. It's just that when we're talking about it in the context that we're talking about it in, it's when the people, they live, let's just say, for example, they live in Arizona, and this is just an example, and they intentionally leave Arizona. They still live here, but mentally they leave Arizona to go do deals elsewhere, and they've never mastered their own backyard. You said it yourself. There's an abundance of opportunity no matter where people live. Unless you live in some little bitty town somewhere in the country where there really truly isn't any opportunity.
Right.
That would be the only scenario that I would say that you wouldn't focus in your own backyard right out of the gate.
1,000%.
Right. Otherwise, you need to master it. You need to understand it. You say you've driven down every street. I think that's really important, because you are now the expert immediately. Like you said, a wholesaler, I send you a deal, dude, you're not the kind of guy that takes a long time to get back to me. If I send you a good deal within 10 minutes, you're either a yay or you're a nay.
No, I'm FaceTiming
right,
you. And
exactly.
I'm like, hold on, what's your ARV? You're on the booger sugar? What are you talking about? I use that phrase. I said, a guy go, you're on the booger sugar? He says, what's that? I said, that's good. All right, good. Good start. I'm glad you're not on cocaine, but your comps are off by 100,000. He goes, let me look at it. What's your number? I said, I'm at 275. You wanted 320. I go, that's even pushing it because ARV is 340 and needed some work. But it's funny. But so I like what you said, the microwave mentality. So many people want that quick fix. They just want that high right now, and they're so narrow-minded. Let's focus on the macro perspective of what's happening. You've got so much time at your hands. You're 26. 26.
Yeah.
In 30 years, and you get these deals, and you can lock in rates. Last night, I was with the hedge fund, and these guys have institutional capital for 30-year term, 30-year mortgages, 3.5%. Are you kidding me? I mean,
insane.
To deploy leverage at 75, 65, 70%. You should be tying that stuff up all day long. In mid-50s, you own hundreds of houses free and clear because it's fully amortized and pay off. hello,
Yeah,
you'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
a zillionaire, God willing.
Which leads me to my next point, actually. And I'm glad that we're talking about it, because I think a lot of people, and myself included, by the way, like, I'll be completely brutally honest, I always am with everybody. I didn't acquire property for a long time because I couldn't wrap my brain around the financing aspect of it, right? I would go to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and they'd shut me down. And I'm like, what the heck, and so I finally got some private capital, and we so we own a couple rental properties, nothing crazy, right? But I think for me, my own self-limiting belief, number one, caused me to not do it. But then number two, that self-limiting belief came from the fact that I just didn't know that that everybody says money follows the deal, and it does, right? Money does chase the deal. The deal doesn't have to chase money. If you have a good deal, money will chase the deal. However,
Absolutely.
I think people take the term a little too literally. Money doesn't just fall out of nowhere. I mean, you got to pick up the phone and call some people, and you've got to put some stuff together, right? I mean, if the door is wide open, I still got to walk through it, you know? So, in your opinion, like for a guy like me, or even somebody, starting out or what have you, if they're trying to go get financing and they're trying to get the bank, let's just say, I guess, somebody had a okay bankability. Like, how do I go from like 3 or 4 rentals to 10 or 15 by next year? I mean, like, as quickly as possible. I mean, is it getting a hold of the guy that you're talking about, or is it do I go start a fund and raise capital? I mean, what, in your opinion, I've looked at every scenario. What's the best scenario to start building this?
I love it. Everyone financially is obviously in a different state on the track. You could be in the first 400, 800 of the mile, towards the end, whatever. In your situation, you already have great success. You've got great branding. I always tell everyone, create your own highlight film. Let people know who you are. You have to be proactive and not reactive. Like you said, it's not literal. The money's just going to flow. You got to project and manifest. Hey, I'm out here doing this. As much as you're marketing for that deal so you can acquire the asset, the money will follow. Simultaneously, put out there a call to action. Hey, anyone, you've seen our success. If you have passive income, you're in another, you're a doctor, you're an attorney, you got family money, whoever you may be, if you have any interest in investing passively in real estate, let me be that vehicle for you so we can create a win-win situation. You should be projecting that. So many people fail when you're out on these opportunities to make your highlight film and project, and you leverage social media, leverage family relationships, pick up the phone. What did I do? Every time I was on a plane, on a vacation, a high-end bar, I like to talk to people. There's a guy out here, TTP. I met him once. Nice guy. He's always about engage people and talk to them. Nothing happens through osmosis and vicariously. You got to make it happen. Like you said, the door is open. You got to put on your shoes, now go through. Be proactive and engage people. And what I like to say is pivot and adapt. First things first, be bankable. If you're not bankable, figure out how you can become bankable. Ask the questions to the local banks. Hey guys, this is where I'm at. Here's my last, tax returns. Here are my assets. Here's my financials and equities. What can we do? Right? Put it in their court. They say, well, Austin, you look good. If you only can increase your credit score by 20 and you can get another 50,000 income this year, we can do this. And then you say, listen, I'm about a long-term relationship. How can I grow? This is what I want to do to the bank. What do you need from me so I can focus on that so I can achieve this? In the interim, as you're building that, you can pivot and adapt, which is always important. You always want to have what I call contingency planning. What does that mean? If the bank doesn't finance you, hey, Mrs. Mary Lou, your wealthy aunt or uncle or friends and family, then you immediately pivot and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be bankable in a year. I've spoken to my banker. I'm right on course. Let's put your money, deploy your money at 5% in a first deed of trust. People want to be comfortable. They want to know, hey, how can they be protected? What's the downside risk? What's the upside potential? And then you have to understand the story. Create your highlight film. This is what I've done. Here's my returns. This is why I can afford to pay you X so I can get you comfortable. Here's my presentation or my PDF or my profile. And this is why I'm going to support and protect your assets through this vehicle. So first thing is, hey, be bankable. If not, become bankable. In the interim, OPM, other people's money, and or you can go fund routes or hard money. Worst case is hard money. Especially the worst thing is you've got an amazing asset. You want to stabilize it. Maybe your cash on cash isn't great because of the hard money, so it's not a long-term play. But in the short term, you still want to take down that asset even with the hard money because you have a lot of equity in there. So you're thinking about the long game, right? You're going all the way for the touchdown, but you're going to run the ball 3 yards at a time. And that's okay as long as you stay the course to get to the end zone.
Sure. Yeah. Bridge loan, what have you.
What you need to do to stabilize it, because you realize you're like, wait a second, I'm not going to leave $100,000 in equity on the table. I'm going to borrow from friends or what I need to do or get a second position to stabilize this asset. I know in 6 months, the first thing I'm going to do is refi my most expensive debt. fundamental business strategy.
Sure, yeah.
In the interim, continue to engage those bankers, acquire new assets, flip. You can continue to pay down that debt because obviously, you're paying down that hard money at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%. That's the first things you're paying down. It's the people that have credit card debt and they're sitting in cash. You're paying 12 and 14 or 15 or 18%. I said, what are you doing? Your immediate return is this yield. Pay it down.
Right, a million percent. And I couldn't agree more. And I think that's first of all, I learn a lot. And I know everybody listening learns a lot because I made that mistake for a long time. And recently, I've made it a point, I would say the last 12 months, matter of fact, in 1 month, right, we're filming this, it's December 2nd. This was my year where a year ago, I went and talked to him, I had that conversation, right? I went to the bank, I said, listen, here, what do I got to do, right? Yeah. And this year, I'm on track to basically, come January 1, there's no question about bankability anymore. I'm going to write the IRS a nice big fat check. I'm not going to enjoy it, but I'll drink a glass of scotch. But I'm going to do it.
No one likes doing it, but at the end of the day, here's what it is. You got to pay to play.
Yep.
If you ain't paying, you ain't playing.
No.
You can play, but you're not going to like the game rules. You don't like that 12% money, 18%, whatever it may be. You don't want to give up 50, 60, 70% equity in deals when that could be yours. But it's also important not to be greedy. So it's important to recognize, hey, somebody who's invested in you from the beginning and they've given you good capital. Don't just put your blinders on and think that, oh my God, I can take everything down myself. I'm going to, be solely bankable and I don't need anyone's money. There's always a time where when you don't need money, it's always available. When you need money, it's not available.
Sure.
So don't be short-sighted. Always engage those people that have supported you from the forefront. Even throw them bones and put them in deals when you don't need it, because there will be a time, I promise you, that when it's sunny and you least expect it to thunder and rain, it's going to thunder and rain.
Yeah.
So eliminate the greed aspect. Engage the people that have supported you from the foundation. Always create those win-win situations. Be transparent. Give good accounting. Good infrastructure and systems in place to do that. QuickBooks, people appreciate that. Always update and communicate with your investors. You don't want to be the ones that saying, hey, I haven't heard from you about this deal. What's going on with the interest payment? You should pay that 5 days early and let them know, hey, sent your check. Congratulations. Just want to let you know it's already there. Hope you're having a great week. Sure. By the way, the project's going great. Here's the update. Be proactive, not reactive, the same way you are with the bankers, with your OPM, with your investors, and everyone within the organization. And people like to, feel empowered, engaged, and gratified through those communications.
Sure. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's extremely, extremely valuable. You want to be in the offensive, not the defensive.
Always.
And then to your point about, the people and stuff, I think absolutely. A mentor of mine told me a long time ago, you can go fast alone, you can go far with people, right? And so, I think a lot of people, again, it goes back to the conversation we were having a little while ago where it's me, egotistical, prideful type of mentality of I can do it all by myself, I don't need other people, blah, blah, blah. And the reality of it is, while that might be true, you could do it bigger with people. I'd rather have, 1 or 2% of 100 people's efforts or 1,000 people than 100% of my own, right? And we've heard that saying for forever and ever, a whole life.
For sure.
And that might just be a handful of people, right? But like you said, if you have some good people, dude, I give up equity. Like I've got multiple companies where, I don't need a partner in my company. I want a partner. Sure. I want somebody to do it with. I want to do life with them. I want to do business with them. It's a yin and a yang, right? It allows me to do what I do best. They do what they do best. And I only own a fraction of the company, but the company's 10 times the size that it would have been had it just been me running it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it plays true with any aspect of business, real estate, whatever it might be. Just having that team, that core group of people that can partner with you and do deals and stuff with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that a lot, man. I really, really do. I guess let's shift gears a little bit.
One more thing that I would just nugget of advice that I recommend too is just in terms of the greed. There's a lot of times, hey, maybe you have 1 or 2 or 3 top wholesalers that are bringing deals.
Sure.
Every once in a while, you're going to get another deal that has nothing to do with them. Re-engage those people. Support. It's not just don't be that unilateral mentality. We talk about, hey, if you're always crediting more than you're debiting with those relationships, they're going to keep coming back to you. Recognize the fact that you've got these strong relationships. Give them the opportunity, if they're just wholesalers, to maybe even reinvest in your opportunities. So think about that as a fix and flip or buy and hold guy to say, hey, I know you've made a lot of money. Specifically, I see your closes. You made 50, 60, 100,000 of these deals, and God bless. And never look at anyone else's pockets, and they ain't going to look in yours, and don't play those games. That's very agitating. But give them the opportunity for invest in your assets as well, and they'll appreciate that. So you're bringing them opportunities passively as well to reciprocate for the amazing first look opportunities for the deals they're bringing you on the wholesale level.
It's a relationship game, right?
Certainly.
And that, in the real estate industry in particular, really every industry, but especially in the real estate industry, we play in a relationship game. And you're really good at relationships, and I've tried to get good at relationships over the years and networking. And they say your network will eventually determine your net worth, and the people you hang out with are the people you end up like, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think I see that with you, and I see it with other very successful entrepreneurs and real estate professionals in the industry. And I think a lot of people, they get in their own way. I'm not sure why. People that are brand new to the industry or whatever, like, they don't have the qualifications to go out and network, or they don't know what to say or what to do. And I think a big part of it is just taking the action and getting out there, being a good person, figuring out a way to provide value. You're a big connector. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, well, how do I provide value to somebody else? I said, connect them with somebody that they need to know, right? Like, give them a relationship. So go meet somebody that you know that they would like to know, and put them together.
Love that.
Right? And now you're the guy that has that mutual, this commonality thing, but that was the value. So you weren't inherently the value, but you brought somebody else that became the value.
Love
which
that.
made you valuable.
Absolutely.
Right? And now they want to give you the time and the energy because, you brought that to the table, right?
And how did you determine those two people would have that synergy? Because you listened,
Right.
you engage them. People think to have conversations, you need to all of a sudden come up with value or be unique. Just be authentic to yourself and ask real, authentic, engaging questions. And people naturally are just going to come out of their habitat to tell you, hey, this is what I do, this is what I'm about. Hey, that's really interesting. That's huge value for somebody. Listen, understand, and then also connect without the expectation of something in return. Just do it out of your good grace. If you're doing it, say, hey, I'm going to connect you guys, but I want 20% of your business, that's the wrong motive. 100%. If you do it authentically and say, hey, you need to know Luigi, and Luigi needs to know you guys, go off and do some filming. God bless you. You guys are going to kill it together. Good things are going to come your way.
100%. Yeah, you can never do the ask, right? Like, leave that off the table and it'll happen automatically, right? I always say your bank account is just a reflection of the value you bring to the marketplace. So if you ever look at your bank account and, because poor people, it's like, first of all, poor, in my humble opinion, stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly, right? And we hear that, but it's really a frame of mind. And I say, look, if you do the right thing, you are the right person. You do provide the value. You have good morals and good ethics. It's only a matter of time before your bank account will match the value you bring to the marketplace. And if it doesn't match it right now, it's just because if you really are doing those things, you've been probably doing it for a short period of time, so time just hasn't caught up yet.
Love that.
Right? Yeah. And once time does catch up, the bank account number will reflect the exact thing that you are, the person that you are in the world, right?
Yep.
And I really believe that. So, I think that people overcomplicate, I think, sometimes, making money. And I think money is really, it's just a tool. I mean, at the end of the day, money's just going to amplify who you already are. If you're a good person, you'll be a better person. If you're a bad person, you'll be a worse person. And it's just plain and simple, Yeah. And you see that all the time. You see people. I don't think that people change when they make money inherently. I think they were always that type of person. You just didn't see it as much when they
magnified. It's magnified with the money, for sure.
Right. And I think it's very interesting. So
there's also a lot to do with the karma and energy, like
Yeah.
what you're talking about. It's like doing things when no one's looking. People put out their highlight films on the social media most of the time. But what are you like when the cameras aren't on and no one's staring at you and there's 5 people in a room listening to you? How do you treat somebody on the phone? How are you treating your tenants? How, I said this the other day, I'm walking the dog. I'm like, no one's going to see if I don't pick up the poop. But I'm not going to go to sleep at night because that's bad karma. And then maybe I'll miss a real estate deal, or I won't make that bench press, or whatever stupid it may be in your mind. I believe in just acting the appropriate way when nobody is looking.
How you do anything's how you do everything, right?
Great point.
So if you don't wake up and make your bed in the morning, then you're going to carry that into the rest of your day. And everything else will be a direct result.
I better go make my bed.
Of that,
I'm terrible at that.
But you know what I'm saying, though? It's an example, obviously. But you got to do everything, in my humble opinion, with excellence. We have one. It's one of our core values. I want to do everything with complete excellence. I want to do it to the best of my ability, even when nobody's watching. Because we get awarded in public for the work we did in private. So we get the accolade when we're on stage and people are clapping and they're saying, "Good job, you're an incredible human being." But that really was a decade's worth of work when nobody was watching, right? And more specifically, when literally nobody was watching, right? When you were the only guy, walking your dog and this and that, or you were up late at night, making sure that your investors got their interest payment 5 days early and your accounting was on point, et cetera, et cetera.
Totally.
And now you're the guy where, the doctors and lawyers are telling their doctor and lawyer buddies to invest in another asset of yours as you're stabilizing your different aspects of your portfolio. You get to a point where you might not even have to make any more phone calls, because you've got people calling you. They're so happy and thrilled with the experience that they've had because you do everything with excellence that now opportunities just come to you eventually.
And they do, and that's the fact. In terms of even just filling up homes, it's a rarity for me even to list, for example, rental property, because the word of mouth, the branding, the opportunities. Hey, I want a great buyer. Hey, I need a good wholesaler. They're going to call the Zaback Group. They want good representation. It's a no-brainer. Just instilled in them. It's a beautiful thing. So it'll multiply a million times. Nobody sees at night at 12:30 in the morning when you're setting up wires for the foundation to ensure that that deal closes first thing in the morning, not for your benefit. The money's going out of your account to ensure that the wholesaler seller is extremely elated by getting their money the same day that it closes and not freak out about keys to make them look good, not you. But the byproduct is them getting you more deals because they don't have to babysit you because you're so proactive working long hours behind the scenes when no one's watching to make their counterpart, the wholesaler, whoever is part of that deal, look amazing. Or when you're going to pick up keys and the wholesaler's not there because you're the end user saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, congratulations on the sale with so-and-so wholesaling with the Zaback Group. They're an amazing buyer. I'm a partner with them, even though we're not partners per se, but we partnered to a certain degree on a deal. And you say, anytime you have a new opportunity, make sure you call the Zaback Group, not Zach Ventures, because that's how the deal was originated. Respect the pecking order, respect the relationship. That's behind the scenes that no one says, and you got to remember that. There's a lot of people who say, oh, I'm the buyer. If you get another deal, I understand you want to sell. Hey, call, here's my number. Never ever. You don't need my number. Call the Zaback Group. There's so many times people are like, hey, we got a great review on Google, the interface, the key exchange. It's the little subtleties behind the scenes. Keep, that top 100%. Of mind. People are watching, even when they're not watching.
I love that, dude. I think it's just, again, the amount of golden nuggets that we've dropped already.
This table's getting, it's about to break the ones you've been dropping. It's splitting in half.
It is insane. So yeah, man, I absolutely love what you're saying, and I love, all of what you just said. Just again, the amount of golden nuggets that we're dropping that you're dropping primarily.
By the way, this is insane. I've done a lot of podcasts, a lot of social media things, and different engagements, and I got to tell you, you're so fluid with your acronyms, your top of mind, your speech, your vocabulary. Tell me more about your background and how did you get into this whole thing? I'm very, very, especially your age, and you're very precocious. Very impressed. Every time I meet you, it just takes it to another level. Tell me about your background and why you're so fluid in all this and the confidence. Where does this derive from?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, I really appreciate I appreciate everything about, the compliment, right, that you give me. And it makes me just almost, my heart skips a beat because I really do genuinely appreciate, that kind of thing. But, I come from, first of all, I grew up with my grandparents, so I grew up in my grandparents' garage and, old school, right? Like my grandparents are old school, so, I learned a lot of stuff, growing up with them. I was an entrepreneur at 8 or 9 years old at a pool company. So I went through a lot of trial and tribulation growing up. I worked a lot of jobs. I worked traditional jobs, stuff like that. And then I got into network marketing when I was probably 15 or 16 years old. I did 4 total network marketing companies. My first network marketing company changed the trajectory of my life forever. It changed my paradigm, as Bob Proctor would say. And Bob Proctor was one of our mentors back then because Linda Proctor, Bob Proctor's wife, was an ambassador in my first network marketing organization. As you know, Bob Proctor's, that you've seen The Secret on Netflix, etc. That, Bob's just an incredible, incredible human being, right? And, when I got into that
He's the guy behind Ask, Believe, Receive, The Secret?
Yeah, he's The Secret, right? So if you watch it on Netflix, he's the guy, so.
I believe in it,
I've been, Bob, I've been behind stage with Bob, 150 times in my life, just face to face, having this type of conversation with Bob Proctor, right? And so, that first network marketing company, what it did a couple of things. Number one, I learned belief, okay? I believe. I did a Zoom call this morning with my team. I preach it every single week. I believe anybody in the world, everybody has the same amount of potential. You take 7.5 billion people on planet Earth, we all inherently have the same amount of potential, right? Mm-hmm. The difference is that most people don't believe that they can do it. They believe you can do it. Oh, Zach Kepes can do it. He's got good looking hair. He wears a good shirt. He works out. He won 3-time, Ironman. He can do it, right?
I didn't win. I just finished.
Okay,
let's clarify.
Finish. Austin can do it. Marcus can do it. Luigi can do it. Yep. But I can't do it, right? And so people don't believe. And remember, your action is your action will only be as much as you believe, right? And so people take action based on whether or not they believe, the level of their belief. If I don't believe I can do it, I'll take a little amount of action, right? A little amount of action will lead to a little bitty result, and then that becomes cyclical, right? Then now all of a sudden, that'll lead to a little destiny. They won't achieve a fraction of their potential. So I started to learn this type of information in network marketing. As when you look at the network marketing industry, it's built on personal development, which is why I like the industry. I think the industry gets a lot of hate. I would tell people that if you could go join a network marketing company, if you were young, 16 or 17 or 18 years old, you didn't know what you wanted to do yet. Maybe you want to get in the insurance industry, maybe the real estate industry, maybe the mortgage broker industry, whatever it might be. You're not sure, right? But similar to when you were younger, you weren't sure exactly what vertical, I think you referenced exactly, you wanted to get into. Then I would suggest network marketing. Reason being is every network marketing company, every good one, has learned personal development being the core foundation of everything, right? So, you've got guys like Les Brown and Bob Proctor and, everybody, Napoleon Hill, Jim Rohn, you look at, John C. Maxwell, some of the Zig Ziglar, like his teachings and stuff like that, Dale Carnegie, these are the types of people, Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, right? You're going to learn, you learn that type of information at 16, 17, 18 years old, you can do anything you put your mind to, right? Then all it really becomes is, what do you want to do? What vehicle is going to get you to your particular goal? So whatever that might be, could be anything, right? What vehicle, what method of transportation is going to get me there? So I think, man, like, personal development's everything. I spent 10,000 hours. They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything, to become a legend, Kobe Bryant type of level, blah, 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 whatever that might be. I'm not there yet. I don't think I ever will be. I'm like Matthew McConaughey. My 10 years from now is that's my idol right now, but in 10 years, it'll be 10 years from then, so I'll probably never achieve.
Because you're never complacent. Same
complacent,
mentality,
right?
Because you're continuing to grow.
And you learn that, though, from personal development.
Right.
You learn it through, school didn't teach me this, unfortunately, right? My parents didn't teach me this. I do have great parents. My grandparents are incredible. I had incredible, but they didn't have what I necessarily wanted in life. It was all self-taught through these other people I'm referencing, and so, dude, I think anybody, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm really not. I have a lot of emotional intelligence, but I acquired that over the years. It wasn't like I was born with that inherently. I don't think you have to be born with it. You have to be hungry for it.
Totally.
If you're hungry, remember, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink. And so I think there's a lot of people out there that have all the capability in the world, but they didn't have the hunger. They didn't have the desire. I could sit them down and show them and lay it all out for them. Here, read this book, listen to this audio, this podcast. I need you to sit down for a weekend, a month, a year, 5 years. I need you to study this. I need you to, I used to fall asleep to John C. Maxwell every single night for 5 years. I would listen to the same tape. To the point where I can fall asleep and have dreams about his voice in my head, how to be a phenomenal leader, what phenomenal leaders do, how to talk, how to project, how to be a chameleon, how to use the right tonality. You do anything for 5 or 10 years, you're going to be an expert eventually. It's inevitable. People act like they can't. It's like, no, success is a math equation. 2 + 2 = 4. So all it is time. And if you're really good, you can condense time, But I think it's just really simple, and people overcomplicate it, and they give up too early, and they give up too soon, and they doubt themselves. They don't have that belief I was talking about, and therefore they never achieve their potential, in my humble opinion.
So I love that. First of all, I'm feeling motivated. I'm believing. Yeah. I'm going to 1,000 homes right now. I'm ready. Yeah. I'm amped up with this conversation. The energy is contagious, and you've got a lot of leadership abilities and qualities, etc. What is the goal for you? Where are you going to be in 5 years? Do you want to mentor and coach? I know you're growing a brokerage and your operations. What's the goal? What are you trying to achieve?
Phenomenal question, man, and I'm gonna ask you the same thing in a minute. I think for me, I it's not all about the money anymore. I think I definitely want to 1,000x, the income and the assets and what I'm building there. But that isn't the driving force of it. It's the tool that will allow me to do what I'm really passionate about, which is the philanthropy, the church. I've been in Nicaragua, several times and built houses down there. I'm heavily involved in my church. I'm there multiple days out of the week, giving and serving. And doing everything that I possibly can for other people. I'm about service, right? So I've lived in the penthouses, I've done all of that, where I served myself, and I was always left empty and unfulfilled. And so I've learned firsthand at a very young age that none of that crap leads to happiness, right? And so for me, it really is like I want to definitely grow the real estate, right? I want to, I think wholesaling is a good cash cow. I think wholesaling, for me, if we could get, do 50 deals a month consistently, that generates somewhere probably along the lines of $500,000 a month or something like that. And that provides us the opportunity to go buy and acquire and stabilize assets, similar to you. So I think, my goal, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
43.
43. So by 43 years old, I'd love to own a very minimum of 236 rental properties, and play at that level, right? And again, at a very minimum, and so, then it could be development, really whatever whatever, I like the challenge, right? So similar to why you probably did the Ironman and things of that nature. I'm addicted to the challenge. I'm addicted to the game. I don't care about really. I'm not a very emotional person when it comes to business. I enjoy waking up and, well, how can I do it bigger than I did yesterday?
Yeah.
You know, what can I do? And so, but you know, man, for me, you know, I eventually want to have a family. I want to do all that too, and I want to make sure. There was a lot of men in my life growing up that, you know, I didn't have this picture perfect childhood. I just didn't. You know, it wasn't a white picket fence I got on the school bus, nothing like that. And so, you know, I do want to have children and give my children eventually the life that I didn't have growing up. And so that's important to me too. So, you know, I have to find somebody that obviously I don't have to give up my goal and my dream in order to do that. So it can't be one or the other. It's got to be both, you know, and I think that's another big goal of mine where I really have tried to prove to myself over the years that I don't, you know, I think a lot of men in my life thought that they had to choose money over relationship, monogamous relationship in particular, and I don't think that's the case. I think you can have it all in life. I think you've got to be efficient with your time, and I think you've got to be on top of it, and I think you've got to make sure you've got, you know, and you've got to integrate different areas and aspects of your life and find the right person, etc. But I do believe that I can have that, and so I'm definitely actively looking for that. To your point you made half an hour ago or whatever it might have been. Yeah.
Solid stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And so the question now is going to get flipped on you. I mean, where, you know, you're obviously at a point, you know, you could retire tomorrow, obviously. I know your personality. Anybody watching and listening this far into the podcast knows that you'd never do that, but you could. And so, you know, where are you headed? I mean, is it, you have a significant other? I mean, is it to travel eventually? Obviously, you're hard work. You're always going to do that, but I'm just curious. I mean, what is it?
Great question. So I've been blessed, and I think we have very similar blood. We may be related. We'll get a DNA test 23andMe after this. It'd be cool. You're better looking than me. So, no, the goal is to continue to have fun. It's not about the money. It's about the game. It's about the deal. I love doing deals. I'm having fun. I like being creative. I like being engaged. I like seeing the enhancements of homes and neighborhoods. I like providing families a beautiful place to live, superior than they've ever had. But most importantly, I like having an impact on people's lives and changing the trajectory of their lives and their families' lives and their legacies by coaching them. And like you said, give them the opportunity to motivate them and the roadmap for success. Your legacy is not going to be like, hey, Austin was a great guy. He made, you know, $1 billion. What an amazing man. No, Austin was a great guy because he built these homes in Nicaragua. He's a church guy, whatever. I care a lot about, you know, cancer societies. Unfortunately, my family's hit hard by cancer. My dad had cancer. My sister had cancer. My mom. I mean, horrible. And so that's near and dear to my heart. I want to mitigate and have, you know, better cures for cancer, be more philanthropic with that. Dogs, I've rescued my dog, he's my little man. And I also want to have, I believe we can have a complementary life. I'm looking to find a woman that can be a partner, an equal, that we can, a co-captain of mine, so I can help support her dreams, and she can do the same with me, and, you know, have some kids would be, you know, the ultimate legacy. I'm a very happy guy, I'm a full guy, but I believe we always have a great, bigger capacity. No matter if you're managing 236 homes or whatever you're doing, I believe I could do double that. If I'm at the gym, the Ironman mentality, be 1% better than I was yesterday. Give more, be a better person, be a better leader, and have as much impact as possible on as many people as possible to change their destiny in the course of their lives. And so, so I had a coaching program and a mentorship that I did for a year as a test. Went very, very well. Like you said, 90% of the people took massive action, had great success, and followed the protocol. I'm really, really proud of that. And it was just like the very end of the coaching, they provided a video, and it was like not about any of the money made or whatever it was. It was about just seeing the impact on their lives financially, mentally, emotionally, their successes, which is contagious. And so probably continue to do some more coaching just to have direct impact on people's lives.
I love that, man.
It's going to be good. But and have fun. Like at the end of the day, like if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're not passionate about it, don't do real estate.
What are you doing?
Right? What are you doing? Why get out of bed? Like, I love doing, you know, like we get on the phone, I'm looking at this deal. Are you crazy with this deal? Oh, this is a good one. Oh, we should do this. I just even like talking about deals. So I'm just a deal junkie. I'm thirsty for growth. You know, you just want to make more money, but only for the impact of, you know, giving it back to society and having a greater impact with those, with the tool of that capital.
Yeah, man, there is so many golden nuggets. I'm going to be re-listening to this podcast 100 times. You know, from the philanthropy you want to do to having a co-pilot and a co-captain. I think even just the wording you used in particular, I love the particular words that you use there. I think it's very very, dude, it's really cool to see and to hear. You don't hear that a lot, and it's very similar to what I'm looking for. You hear a lot of it in today's society, degrading and put, and the woman is, there's just, and I just think it's really cool and unique to meet other people that are like-minded, that have a similar vision, a similar goal, just impact. I mean, the church I go to is called Impact Church.
See that, yeah.
And, I've always, since the first day I started going there, I just, even the name of it, because for me, it like similar to you, it's legacy, it's impact. It's how do we do this thing? How do we have fun but change people's lives? I mean, I walk in here every day and my people are playing the blowhorn. They got the siren on. They're having but my people have a blast. I mean, everybody out here, they have so much fun. It's ridiculous. I don't have to tell them to stay here. I'll come back at 7 o'clock at night and they're still here grinding away.
I see your videos. I'm like, this is amazing. You're up at 4 a.m. pushing sleds, which I love and I relate. I think that if you don't have your health, you don't have your wealth. I think that's a really important lesson. So many people are so busy chasing the money. They're not recognized. They're not taking care of themselves. Hey, the billionaire, never said, hey, I wish I had another billion. They said I was in better shape to enjoy my life and be a good father, grandfather, mother, whatever it may be. So never neglect your health for your wealth, because your health is your wealth. Yeah,
I heard somebody say one time, that most people, most like entrepreneurs, they spend, their 20s and their 30s and maybe even their 40s, and they're chasing the wealth, neglecting their health, thinking to themselves that they'll get healthy when they become wealthy to then spend the rest of their life trying to buy back their health.
Totally.
And it's just completely contradicting when you think about it. It's like, well, why not just try to do it from the very get-go? And I've done it the wrong way, to be very clear. I when COVID happened, I was out of the gym for like a year and a half. And one could say, well, COVID is hard, but I could have figured it out. I could have gone hiking. I didn't. And I got really out of shape. And then come like February, I think, of this year, I looked in the mirror. I was disgusted with what I saw. And I made a big change, because I always grew up going to the gym. And so I think there are seasons of life that we go through and we learn and we look at that season. We look back, hindsight's 20/20. We say, man, I did that the wrong way. I'm going to fix it moving forward, 1% better every day.
And like you, just showing vulnerability. I'm far from perfect. I'm imperfect. No one's perfect. And I've learned that, at 43 and full vulnerability, I was too much chasing the money as a kid. Money's doesn't bring the happiness. I'll tell you that much. If I could go back in time and change something, I would do a lot of these things the same. But one thing I would do is provide more space to be open towards more relationships, to give to those relationships instead of chasing the dollars. Because at the end of the day, if I would have found that co-captain earlier or whatnot, who's to say my life wouldn't be brighter and whatnot. So one regret that I've had is just solely focus the deals. The deals aren't ever, they can come and go. You miss a deal, you have better health or a stronger relationship to be there for your partner or for your offspring or whoever it may be. Give up a little to gain a lot more in that respect.
So I love that.
Take it from me.
Yeah, I love that. Well, in conclusion, I have one question I like to ask everybody, and you probably have already answered it multiple times, but I'll ask it again. So if it's the same thing you've already said at one point in time, that's totally fine. But if you were to, for whatever reason, today was your last day on Earth, and you knew that, right? Today was your last day. There wasn't going to be tomorrow. You weren't going to wake up tomorrow. But it's an incredible day today. It's just beautiful. You knew that you were going to go out with a bang. There was no, it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing. No pain, nothing like that, right? But you could leave one piece of advice behind, and that was it. And you had to leave just one thing behind for your family, for the people that you love, people that you care about. And they knew nothing else about you. I've heard other people ask this before, but they knew nothing else about you other than that one piece of advice. It could be personal, it could be business, how to live life, a thing you've learned, just whatever it might be. What would that be?
Wow, that is a huge question. That's probably the most complex question I've ever been asked, especially on the spot. But off the cuff, I'm a big family man. I wake up in the morning, I FaceTime my dad as the first call every morning. Just to let everyone know I'm a sensitive guy, so I just want everyone to know how much I love them and appreciate them, and just let them know how loved and how grateful I guess I was to have them in my life, my immediate family, my friends, just how grateful I was and how loved that they are and how great of individuals they are, and that I'll continue to watch over them in heaven or wherever it may be if that was my last day, and just always just embody and promote and let them know, again, how much, I'm getting tied up thinking about it because it's serious. But just how much I love them. I always like to leave a conversation with loved ones, how much I love you. That's it.
Well, it's a mic drop right there. I think it's a lesson that everybody can take and run with, because a lot of people, they neglect that. And then all of a sudden they wake up one day and that's gone, and so I think in making sure every day when we wake up to do just that, to make sure we tell every single person around us how much we care and appreciate them. And to your exact point, I think it's incredibly important. So
what's yours?
You know, man, I think it's probably very similar to yours. You know, it is, live every day as if it was your last. You know, I would give advice to people and just say, man, like, wake up every single day. Like, we have 86,400 seconds in a day. And I think people, man, they hold on to regret and they hold on to pain and they hold on to everything. And people take too long to make decisions and they waste time and they go through life almost thinking that they'll live twice. And I think you have to wake up every day completely with zero grudges, completely forgive everybody, completely forget any wrongdoing anybody's done to you. Don't keep a record of wrongs and play full out. You know, don't wake up and half-ass anything. Play full out in everything you do. If you're going to call your dad on FaceTime, you call and you come on that FaceTime with all the energy in the world. Not like you just don't have any energy and you're grumpy and this and that. None of that crap. I mean, play full out in everything that you do. Every call, every meeting, everything, every deal. From the moment you open your eyes to the moment you go to bed, play full out and live every single day as if it was your last, man. I think so many people, I'll get to it tomorrow, I'll do it the next day, they somebody, their picture perfect co-pilot standing right in front of them and they overthink it and they neglect it.
Or they're not being present, didn't see them.
Right, and it's just, again, time is such a scarce asset that we have. It's the only thing. Doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, you and me got the same amount of time. So just treat it as such.
You should cut that clip and just send it to every football team out there, basketball, volleyball, softball team, and say, go crush it, get 300% right now because there ain't a guarantee for another game tomorrow. I feel like I need to go work out again right now. I'm dead serious. I am amped up after this, for real.
It, well, hey, I really appreciate you being here. I want to say that on camera again.
Likewise.
We're going to do a lot more of this because I love being around you. I love your energy. I think I texted you on Sunday or Monday, and I said, hey, you want to be on the pod?
Right away what I say.
When and where. Said, absolutely. I said, hey, I said, you just give me a day and a time. I'll make it happen.
Right.
You said, hey, listen, 3 o'clock on Thursday, done deal, right? So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all the value. I know everybody else that's watching and listening, they're mind blown. I'm going to re-listen to it 10 times. I can't even imagine.
I'm re-listening to you. You drop gems like no other. Like I'm serious. I may have to take some of these pieces before I work out and start my day. I'm motivated, man. I'm telling you, I came in here motivated. And I think we always have a larger capacity when you surround yourself with other people that elevate your energy, your mindset. We grow and we learn and we prosper much greater together. And we leverage that energy and it's tenfold. So,
means the world to me. Where can people find you? At Zach Ventures on
Zach
Instagram?
Ventures on Instagram. They can call myself. He hates when I do that. I ain't going to call myself. Zach Ventures on Instagram. DM me if you have any questions on there, deals or opportunities. Happy to look at it. Always send it to Austin first if you got something in terms of wholesale perspective because this is his channel. And then if he doesn't buy it, I'm happy to look at it.
So, I love that, man. Appreciate you again for being here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next episode.